I want to switch gears a little bit and refer back to your inaugural address, where you spoke about your priorities for Harvard, and wondered if you could expand upon those for us. And also, I was curious, in that same address, you said something really quite profound that struck me, that you wanted all Harvard students who wanted to have a public service opportunity to have one, and hope that you could to speak to that as well.
Sure. Well, so these are really interesting and challenging times for higher education. And it's the first time in my lifetime where people have questioned sending a kid to college, whether or not it's worth it. It's the first time in my lifetime that people have questioned whether or not colleges and universities are worthy of public support. We're actually taxing them now as opposed to supporting some of them. It's the first time in my lifetime where a significant portion of our population has questioned whether or not these great institutions are even good for the nation. So my highest priority is to try and change this narrative about higher education. I think that people are casting a critical eye to institutions like Harvard, not just Harvard, but others as well, because they think that we're elitist. They think we're far more concerned about making ourselves great than the world better. They think that we're incapable of controlling our own costs, that there's a lot of public anger at just the breathtakingly expensive cost of college education these days. And then I think there's concern over whether or not institutions like ours are truly as open to new ideas or ideas from across the ideological spectrum as we claim to be. So these are driving actually a lot of my priorities for the institution. Harvard has an extraordinary tradition of sending its best and its brightest, into public service. Right now, there are 14 Harvard graduates who are serving in the United States Senate. There are over 40 Harvard graduates who are serving in the House of Representatives. I mean, think about that. It's quite astonishing. We have, Harvard graduates on the Supreme Court. We've had multiple Harvard graduates in the White House. So I think Harvard graduates have always answered the call to public service. I want to ensure, though, that every student who wants to sort of sample from that opportunity can do so. And that's why I said that I wanted to ensure that any student who wants to pursue an internship can do it. One of the challenges that we face is that we've succeeded in making Harvard accessible now to students who come from very poor families or families of very modest means. And that's the good news. But those students are often not in a position, for example, to be able to say, I'm going to volunteer this summer. I can afford to do this so that I get the experience. Right. And a lot of these jobs don't pay very much. And so I want to level the playing field. I want to make sure that every student who wants it has the opportunity to do it. And I know that some students will catch the bug and want to continue with that, either as a career or to continue to find ways to serve through their volunteer efforts. Right. And I also think it's necessary that, and this is part of what I want to do, that we try and make it easy for the students who want to go home and serve to do that. We send a lot of students to all over the world to try and help needy populations wherever they find them. But one of the reasons why I think we're facing such challenges politically in this country right now is people feel like institutions like Harvard haven't paid enough attention to what goes on in the center of the country.